Hello everyone, my name is Rishikesh Nare. We welcome you to our special series, The Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ETH. The key to cutting chai conversation is to have good discussion around the areas of your early life, education to grooming, training, business, skill augmentation to work-life balance. Before we begin, let me set the context right. The Economic Times Cutting Chai is a series of candid conversation where we take you through the inspirational journeys of influential people. You all have seen these personalities in the corporate world, but we are taking them away from that boardroom drama for some time to have some candid conversations and get some very interesting insights. So today we have with us Mr. Aman Kishore, who's the MD of One Infra. So Mr. Kishore, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. And thank you for agreeing with us to have a conversation on a different part of your life. So tell me when you're ready, then all the questions to you, and then we'll wait for those interesting insights from your end.
I appreciate this opportunity to share this journey with all of you. And, I would love to go through this with you, Rishi.
Definitely.
Really.
So as I rightly said that, this is the platform where we encourage people to go away from that boardroom drama, what happens all the time. Just get everything off your mind and, we can have this conversation going. So when I say, off the table or off boardroom drama conversations, that means you have to start with the very beginning. Because, according to me, what I feel is whatever attributes or the qualities that we have today, it's not because of the professional life that we have or the skills that we've harnessed along the way. It started way back in days. It starts with your childhood. So let's go to your childhood and please take us through your childhood days, which city you belong to, your schooling days. Were you a mischievous student or were you a studious one? Or you could hit the right balance of mischievous and the studious one and you being the idle one. What was the overall journey?
So, Rishi, I'm an army kid. So, initial part of my journey was not in one city. So, we always used to pack our bags every 2 years, and the family moves where the army takes you. So, my father was in the army, so that's where initial part I started my schooling in Shillong, in St. Peter's School, and subsequently he moved to Jodhpur. Then I had my schooling, early kindergarten in St. Anthony's there. And after that, it was Bhopal. It was St. Joseph's. And unfortunately, while I was a child, I was 8 years old, I lost my father in an accident. And that brought me to Faridabad, which is where my maternal grandparents belong to. So I moved there, and there I started my schooling again from St. Joseph's School in Faridabad, and subsequently moved into APJ School because my mother took up a job there. She started teaching, and it was more convenient to all of us, me and my sister, my mother, to be, to commute and go to the same school. So that's where my initial journey started from my schooling days. The child, you asked me, mischievous or studious. I think I was more of a curious child rather than either mischievous or studious. And I had an interesting time, a very good journey all through my high school days, particularly the mid school and the high school. And I was never considered to be a very studious child or either a very mischievous child, but I was more of a silent, curious child, and that was reflecting in the title that I got. Like, you have the farewell that happens, and it was the Shant Samundra Mein Behti Hui Tivr Buddhi Ki Dhara. That was the title I received.
So you were the one who could hit the right balance. Curious is the mixture of someone who is studious and at the same time mischievous, but at the same time that person knows that he has to keep his calm in a certain way that you can handle the situation, something like that.
So I don't know what curiosity was, but certainly, as I said, what people observed, or my friends and my schoolmates and my juniors observed, and that's what they give the title. Everybody gets a title when you do the farewell. So title was Shant Samudra Mein Behti Hui Tivr Buddhi Ki Dhara. So I don't know where it came from, but it was the title I got from the...
You remember the friend who actually worked upon this entire title?
So it was the batch junior to us, so not the friends who came
Oh,
to this.
that way.
But yes, of course, I was not in the topper type of thing. I was always, in the fifth, sixth, seventh position, and it came like naturally. It was not that I had to slog for it. I was never a person to go too much into that theoretical side of things. I used to be, again, jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. There,
But you were happy with the progress that you were getting, right?
I loved sports. I was part of the soccer team. I was part of the cricket team, but I was never a captain there. So it was also, again, I was never a big boy, but I was I was the magazine prefect while I was in the school. And fortunately, I was also picked up as a national talent through the
Oh,
NTSC examination that we would go through in our high school. So I received the NTSC scholarship. So
that's brilliant. And when you say that you were selected as a prefect for the magazine that is published every year, uh, let me tell you, this is the most hardest part because we can play sports, we can get into drama, we can do lot many other activities which are not related to studies. But editing a magazine at that age or guiding them, it's very challenging.
right, it was the best was like I've been always the people's person, so it was the ability to connect with people and my classmates, and then bring the best out of them. Sometimes mostly kids at that time, not everybody wants to participate. So how to get everybody to participate and get something out of them, and then work on that and create something that was interesting in the initial days.
I mean, and please, put some more light on your achievement that on a national level you did something. So please take us through that part.
Well, that's the only thing I did on a national level or I achieved. It was a national talent scholarship. Subsequently, of course, in that I was, we all go through the Olympiad examinations, and in the physics, I scored 99 percentile at that time. So that was an achievement.
I mean, yeah, that's an achievement then, today, and in the future.
And nothing else, I guess. Cars used to fascinate me a lot, so that basically led me to take up mechanical engineering subsequent to my high school, and I had an opportunity to get into computers. That time, that was the flavor of the time. Everybody wanted to take up computer science, and you had to rank a little high to get into computer science. So I did get that ranking in my entrance examinations, but I got into Punjab Engineering College as well as the regional engineering colleges. So honestly, I was not a person who would go through engineering. As my dad was in the army, I always thought I would be also an army. I would take up army as my career and join the forces. So I got through the NDA examination, and it was kind of a trick. Perhaps my family or my uncle didn't, see that or want me to take up army. So he threw a challenge. He said, uh, it is difficult to get into engineering, and he told me I don't think you can get it. I said, it's not about not being able to get in. I just don't want to go do engineering. I will go to the army. So he said, well, that's what people say when they can't achieve something. And
Oh,
that hit, and I said, okay, well, he said, you should, because it's a very tough competition and only select few make it. So first show it that you have it. And then when you have the choices, then you don't take that choice, then I will really understand you had it and you didn't take it. But otherwise saying that you don't want to go to engineering is because maybe you won't even make it. So that was little time left because I didn't prepare for my, that way for my entrance examination. So however, I those last 2 months before the exams, I really I think that's the only time I remember in my life where I put about 14 to 15 hours a day in
okay.
preparing and
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely get that part where you said, okay, chalo theek hai yaar, matlab, when I don't do or don't put any efforts, I come fourth and fifth. Let me just give a full shot to this.
खाली वो हो गया थोड़ा ईगो उस टाइम पे हिल गई मैंने कहा अच्छा आपको करके दिखाते उसके बाद में आर्मी में ही जाएंगे. But, subsequently, I think I made it to regional colleges, REC Kurukshetra, Delhi College of Engineering, Punjab Engineering College, and I just wanted to explore a little bit further from home. So, and certain friends were joining, and eventually I ended up doing engineering. So that's where I think ranked pretty high. So I could take up computer science, but I decided to take up mechanical engineering. And I did mechanical engineering from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, which is my alma mater, and a beautiful institution, a great institution, beautiful campus. And I had one of the best times of my life for the 4 years that I was there.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, in last 10 minutes, even I can, I can't decide that what exactly you like, because you spoke about sports, you spoke about like cricket, cars, football, then your love for this army, then your engineering part. I mean, you were okay with computer science, and you're also okay with mechanical engineering as well. I mean, you had
computer science. I was like everybody, you go with the flow at times when everybody's taking computers. So some part of it, as a child at that time in the early 90s, we were not too, uh, we were not too aware. Like kids today are way more aware than what we were at that time. So it was more of matter of what will get us a good job. That that used to drive the career path or the choices rather than your own interest largely. But I somehow was fortunate enough to think that okay, it's my interest lies in cars. So mechanical engineering was somewhat that could take me to the automotive side, and that's what I did. And I did mechanical engineering and was fortunate. While I was doing engineering, I got an opportunity to get internship in Germany in the third year of my subsequent to the third year of my college. There was a program which was called IAESTE. It was like the technical side of what they have. ISEC. ISEC is for commerce. So ISTE was the technical program, and that was International Association for Exchange of Students for Technical Experience.
Okay.
Yeah. And through that, I got an opportunity to get an internship in Germany. It was in University of Stuttgart. So that was early days, and it was the third year of so in our college, and we didn't have internets at that time, and we didn't have email at that time. And going to Germany, we're seeing laptops everywhere. And what was funny to me was that he said, "Use your mouse." I said, oh, "What is a mouse? There's no mouse here." And it's so common today, but it may sound very funny, but I didn't know what a mouse was. And and I had to use that computer, and it was something very foreign when you were looking at that. And then he said, "This is an email," and that time only email was the Hotmail, and name was funny, and you could just send something, and other person will reach it. And I thought, I couldn't believe it. I thought this is a joke going on, and how could a letter what I type here would be there in the same second? And so that was quite an interesting exposure in those times when you go from India, and you at that time didn't have all that things. It were all early days, and so I was in University of Stuttgart. That was a very interesting time, and got good training, and subsequently that led me to get some time in Mercedes-Benz as well.
Exactly. I mean, I was coming to that because you actually landed. You arrived at the hometown of Mercedes, and then because German engineering that everybody talks about, right. And you got an opportunities in early days. So, did you get a chance to visit that office? Because I'm a Ferrari fan, and then I want to go to Maranello right now if someone helps me to go there. So, similarly, if you had an opportunity to,
so I had an opportunity to visit the Mercedes. Factory, the offices, even they had a museum, and it had all the history and how this thing came up. And even we went to BMW that time, BMW is a common name and a brand, BMW, but today if I ask what does BMW stand for, not many people will know the full form. So I used to just come back and say BMW is this Bavarian Motor Works.
Yeah.
And that's how BMW came up in Munich. So it was very interesting to get exposed or get that exposure, to something which was you always used to fancy in terms of cars.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was very fortunate to get that training early days, and And that is what gave me, you know, some, you know, that led me to further go and get more into this domain. And when I finished my engineering, I was picked up by for internship and with Volvo Cars in Sweden. So that is where I spent, I think, close to year and a half working at Volvo Cars. And that was another exciting experience because I used to be in the Department of Ergonomics.
Oh.
And the first job I had got was the department had told me, here, these are these cars that the department has. They had a set of about 15, 20 different cars, all likes of BMWs and Mercedes and Buick, that was an American car at that time, and the Audis and all these, the benchmark competitors, you know, the competition which was there to Volvo. So they had all these cars, and as a function of ergonomics, you need to, what my first task was to drive each of these cars for 2 days to 3 days, and after 2 weeks come back with a report on which had better features or better comfort or better ergonomics. So first part was very exciting to be able to get to drive all these cars. I couldn't believe my luck that, you know.
Exactly. It's a fanboy journey. It's like fanboy waiting for all these cars, and eventually he is going to actually review them, and let's see that how to beat them. It's a fascinating journey, and I could picture things right now. I mean, all the cars are standing in the garage and right.
And then every 2-3 days, and then, you know, they said that also during the weekdays you don't get enough time, so you need to take the car on the weekend for long drives so that you can have more than 10-hour drives at a stretch. So that gives you that sense of comfort and understanding of what features are good here. It was a man-machine interface program they had, and to be able to drive these cars to Germany or to Norway, and you know, it was like as exciting as it could be. But the challenge was, after that, I think 1 month of this experience, I had to write a report of which car, which features, what was better. And going from, you know, having experience of Maruti 800 in those times and getting these things, everything sounded the best. Like I couldn't find any problem in anything.
Right.
So what the department head was looking as what was not good in other cars and what we could bring as a better feature in Volvo. But it was hard for me to find out, you know, shortcomings in any of these different cars. But that was the exciting time, exciting journey, and that was the initial time in a professional world for me. And
then later on your journey, so because nobody would want to leave this kind of a job where you get to, you know, drive your the best of the lot, and then you work upon it and you work on your own product where, you know, your suggestions, your inputs, they do matter with a better product in the future. So now from that day and today, as we speak, what is the difference that you see in yourself?
Rishi, I mean, what changed was that, you know, while at Volvo, I was sent for a 3-week visit. You know, that was a part of a delegation that was coming to India. And just by the virtue of being from India and being from this background, so I was sent along with them to India. That was a trip that they were making, or a delegation that was coming to do a research. It was a marketing research program to study the luxury car segment potential in India. Those times Volvo was looking at launching or was studying the market. So when I was part of that delegation, and it was in Delhi and Mumbai and Chennai and Bangalore, and meeting with different people and trying to study and research the market, that triggered my interest towards marketing and towards business, because it was much more exciting interacting with people and trying to understand what the market dynamics are and how what the future would be, how we foresee the market would pan out. That was something, because what I was doing in the earlier technical side of my job was we didn't know what cars that we are working on, because that was all confidential. So it would be P1X, P2X, P3X. These were Project 1X, Project 2X, Project 3X. Now, you don't know whether that Project 1X will ever get launched, or whether what it will be S60 or S90. You would not know anything. So it was just you didn't relate much to what and what effort was being done. That would take shape into that research would take shape much like the result was not immediate. It was long term of a technical research. But this marketing journey or the market research, rather not the marketing, the research that we did, that appealed to me. And that was a time where I felt that, I want to do something which is more integrated with what the industry wants and what and more sensing the market and the business side. And that is where I got the initial exposure.
I mean, the magazine Preferred Boy, right? He is doing the same thing after so many years. That
This is
fed,
exactly, that was
fed.
the
That's
same
the connection.
interacting and trying to assess people and their likes and
Exactly.
dislikes, and many more things were the part of the research in terms of the ability, the buying ability, and the price points, and what the competition. Then a lot of things came up, and then I thought, yes, this is very exciting, and you really have a sense of, you have to think and apply more in a real world than as to a research-based world or R&D kind of a thing.
Right, exactly. So when we say these candid conversation, why do we do that? Because we find some link to your childhood, man. I mean, of whatever I'm doing today, I must have done in the past, and that has interested me, and I'm doing the same thing. Eventually, you were doing some very serious stuff in terms of you getting the right car ready for Volvo, and at the same time, this marketing research, when you saw that exposure and you thought, oh no, this is where I can interact with more people and I can get more insights and I can contribute to a real world where you could see the real results happening in front of your eyes. Uh, I mean, we can definitely now connect with that entire journey of
So
yours.
then it was basically, Rishi, a matter of how do I get into the business side? Because I had done engineering and I was doing a technical job. And so I was told that you need to do MBA if you want to get into business. And so I said, okay, well, most of my college classmates from Chandigarh, from Punjab Engineering College, they all were doing MBA from US. So they said, for marketing, for business, you need to look towards North America. And that's where I started, interacting with my friends and my classmates who were studying there, and they said, "Yeah, better रहेगा कि तू इधर आके पहले थोड़ा work experience ले ले, and that will get you into a better school. Even though you will write your GMAT and you'll get the score, but what we feel is to get to a good school, you need to have some work experience in marketing." And so I started, trying to again assess how do I get a work experience, and I was able to, through some network, get an opportunity to get a position in Canada. So this was again the network I used to have with that international exchange of students program, where I did very well while I was the chapter head in Chandigarh, bringing several European students to get internship in India. In exchange, then if you bring 70 students from Europe and get them internships in India, they will give you 70 internships for Indian students to go to Europe and get the internship. So I was, and the challenge during those times was that each internship had to be paid about 10,000 rupees a month. So during those times when a full engineer would not get a job of more than 5,000 rupees a month, why would somebody in India pay 10,000 rupees to an intern? So it was, again, I didn't realize that I was good at selling, because at that time I was not doing sales, but I thought that I have to get many internships for Indian students to go to Europe. But first I need to get that internship programs, created for the Europeans to come to India. In exchange, we'll get equal number of opportunities. So being from Faridabad, I basically used to get on this Bajaj scooter with one of my friend and ride from Ballabgarh to the border of Delhi. That's about a 20-kilometer stretch where both sides of the road of this NH2, which is called the GT road, both were factories. And I used to visit one factory after other, including Escorts, the prominent name, which was dominating there. And I used to go and meet with those HR people, and I used to be shunted right there. Are you crazy? You will get a intern we can't pay 10,000 rupees to any intern during that time. So nobody, and then I realized I have to go to somebody who can take the decision, because these people are just putting me on hold or making me go in circles. I'm not getting any result. And then when I was made to meet the people who mattered or the decision makers in those initial days when I was a college student. The confidence started building from there to represent, and they ask me why we should pay 10,000 rupees to an intern when we can hire an engineer at 5,000 rupees. So I said, sir, look, you have to look beyond that. It is not the commercial dynamics here. It is the exposure that these foreign students will bring to you, which perhaps could enhance your vision or your people in terms of best practices or exposure from other countries. So don't look at it as a cost of 5,000 rupees. Look at what kind of other things that could be brought. And that enabled me get 70 internships from India for Europeans to come to India. And the year before, maximum internships Indian we could raise was about 5 to 7. So from a 5 to 7 to 70 internships, it was a record number.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And to convince someone again and at a higher price.
Yes, at a higher price.
At a higher price. I mean, you were charging the premium as well. It's not that, okay, this same price you're getting in. So,
and then we also used to play a little emotional card there. I said, sir, we as little students, we are thinking about the country and then what we can do at your level. You can certainly give us some support. They were okay. Yaar, internship
I mean, even these guys, when they knew the fact that okay, he's hard selling, but the way he's trying to impress is an impressive way. So they might have got convinced easily with that fact.
So I guess that started there. So with that network, I got an opportunity in Canada after the Sweden Volvo days. And that was an opportunity in sales and marketing or business development or market research. So this was with a company called IRD, International Road Dynamics, which was a Canadian company. And I had not known much about this company. All I was cared was that I get some work experience of 2 years. And then I basically will be doing my MBA. But I guess, as they say, everything is destined. I was destined to go to this place, to this company in Canada. Of course, the initial times it was a big shock because when I reached in December of 1996 in Calgary, the temperature was minus 30 or minus 35, and I was like not prepared. And I thought I was kind of I'm so well prepared because living in Sweden, I was living in Gothenburg where it used to get to minus 5 to minus 8. So I thought like when I have experience and going from India, which is Delhi, which never gets to those sub-zero temperatures, and living in Sweden, I thought I'm prepared for the worst winter. So people did tell me that Canada is very cold. I said, oh yeah, cold. I know what cold is. But when I got to that minus 30, then I realized, okay, yes, they all were saying something right. I wasn't prepared, but that was a learning. That was and when I moved out of the airport, first time I saw all these cars plugged into electric points. And I didn't know what was happening. And coming from Volvo, doing cutting edge R&D, I had not seen electric cars at that time in Volvo. And I thought Canada is technologically very advanced because I thought them to be electric cars. But later I realized and I was told these were not electric cars, these were block heaters to keep there was heating blocks into the engines of all these cars. And at night you need to plug them so that the heat can keep the engine warm. Otherwise, if you don't plug them, in the morning the car won't start because with minus 30, minus 40, everything shuts down. So that was it. But the other part was I got this experience with International Road Dynamics, which was a company in digital tech infra space. So they were doing commercial vehicle operations across North America, where they used to track all the commercial vehicles for pre-clearance and for faster traffic movement. So traffic management was something that they were doing. And that is where I initially got the exposure in the digital tech space with that company. And I got the opportunity to learn their product and their engineering solutions for traffic management. And the industry was the ITS industry, Intelligent Transportation Systems. So if you look at US, I think 70% of the goods they are transported through road, not through train, like in India. So whether and that's where I learned that overloading is they used to also control overloading at that time because overloading was a major cause of accidents and to the damage of the pavement of the road infrastructure. So they had this company was the world's a leading company in the field of weigh in motion. Because if you use the Dharamkanta kind of a static scale to weigh these vehicles, then you will basically have a entire traffic flow will be impacted. You can't weigh thousands of vehicles. And so they had this technology called weigh in motion, where they put in weigh scales on the highways, and vehicles would move at highway speeds of 100 kilometers an hour, and to an accuracy of about plus minus 5 to 10%, they would know whether what the weight is of this particular truck. And based on that it acted as a pre-sorter. And if they felt that this truck is overloaded, then they would pull them off the ramp, off the highway to a ramp for further screening. So that's what this company used to do, and that's where I got the initial exposure into the traffic and the transportation in intelligent traffic management kind of business. And with them, I started also getting the opportunity to do market research in Southeast Asia and South America. So initial days was to look at the markets in South America, and then it was Southeast Asia. And perhaps I never saw myself as a salesman, but I very soon became a blue-eyed boy kind of term that there was used mostly in that company. Because in the first year, only in the CEO's annual speech, he mentioned my name, and he kind of felicitated what I did or what I developed certain market, and there was some business in Colombia which the company could never break through, and I was able to get some inroads there. So he identified that, and he did that. So very soon I became his kind of blue-eyed boy, and from South America got Southeast Asia as well, and that was the initial days where I started doing market research and business development work.
Right. I mean, you just explained how the transformational thought process that you've seen from Volvo to the electric cars which are standing, the electricity, how electricity can keep your car warm. It's a complete different landscape that you have seen, and we've seen this entire journey. Here again, when we talk about now digitization or digital things or technology, when it comes in play, last year has a different approach to it, because in last year in 2020 we have seen lot many changes happening in terms of, I mean, in the real sense of digital transformation that we all have seen that has happened in last say 400 days if I count on my fingers. And just to deliberate upon that, I think we have Mr. Rohit Midha with us, who's the Director of Service Sales, Lenovo India. So just this one typical question for all you guys who understands technology in a better sense, rather than what we understand from the layman's perspective. So your thoughts on this particular question, Mr. Midha, and then you can carry on discussion with Mr. Kishore.
So I think I think clearly the pandemic hit us by surprise in terms of the magnitude and in terms of the intensity, and did catch us unaware. I think one of the first challenges that we faced was continuity of business despite not being in office. Now, when I say continuity in business, it's not just about sales, but it's also about our commitment to our customers, our contact centers, our engineers on field, so on and so forth. And that's one of the first things that we really worked around. And we moved all our contact center agents we enabled them to take calls from their houses, and we did it so successfully that very soon we actually opened up our contact center even for competition customers, because we realized that competition had not been able to keep pace with the kind of things that we had done, and with the intent that we should be able to help customers irrespective of the brand they use during these times. We actually opened up our contact centers there. I think it's clear now that this is going to be a new way of working. This is going to be a new way of learning. The hybrid model is something which many education institutes are already in the phase of implementation. Similarly, when it comes to work life, many organizations are looking at, some even are looking at permanently allowing employees to work from home. And clearly that brings up the need for organizations, and when I say organizations now, I mean maybe even institutes, to look at a partnership model, which not just looks at the transactional nature of the issues that they've been facing, but also look at it holistically in a solution approach. And just to kind of dwell on that point a little more, uh, a lot of education institutes actually incorporated education through some form of video conferencing, with the student on the other side having a phone or a tablet or a laptop. But they really had to struggle integrating the entire technology in the learning and education process. They managed to get attendance, but they failed to get attention. So, they really could not find a way to kind of check whether the student on the other side was really paying attention or was he distracted. Similarly, when it comes to corporate work, with employees working from many different locations, uh, organizations are trying to overcome threats of security, are trying to overcome threats of cyber attack. And that's where Lenovo plans to be. We plan to be a solution partner to our customers, a trusted partner who can solve customer problems and enable customers in their digital transformation and intelligent transformation. I hope I gave you a perspective, Rishi.
Uh, so, viewers, that was Mr. Aman Kishore, MD, One Infra for you. And let me tell you, his journey is completely driven by the sense of curiosity. His ambitions are courageous and transforming every day. You cannot put his thoughts into cage, because he might convince someone to buy that cage and free himself. So, that's the quality that someone would definitely want to harness. And thank you so much, Mr. Kishore. Thanks for this time, this interaction.